Good day, everyone. Welcome to the PMGT2851 Project Analytic course. This course introduces you to the increasingly important role of analytics in modern project management practice. Today marks the beginning of your journey into understanding how data measurement and analytical thinking support better project decision making. Project environments today are complex, fast-moving, and data-rich. Organizations collect enormous amount of information and data across schedule, budget, risks, procurement, and stakeholders engagement or stakeholders information. However, data alone does not create value. So what creates value is the ability to interpret, analyze, and apply the data to improve project outcomes. Throughout this course, we will explore how analytical supports planning, monitoring, forecasting, and evaluating projects. We will also touch on emerging areas such as artificial intelligence, data visualization in project contexts. By the end of the semester, you should not only understand analytical concepts, but you should also feel confident applying them in the real world project management. Let's get into it. Before we proceed, we acknowledge the traditional custodian of the land on which we meet today. At the University of Sydney, it is important that we recognize and respect Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islanders peoples as the original knowledge holders of this country. We recognize and pay respect to the elders and communities, past, present, and emerging, of the lands that the University of Sydney campus stand on. Let me briefly introduce the teaching team for this course. The course coordinator and lecturer is Dr. Jin Zhu, who will guide the academic direction of the unit. I'm serving as an academic lead, and I look forward to engaging with you across lectures and workshops, particularly in bridging analytical concept with project management practice. Our marker, Mr. Kerry Liu, a PhD student, who will support assessment, evaluation, and provide structured feedback. We encourage open communication. If you have academic questions, assessment clarification, or need guidance, please feel free to reach out through appropriate channels on Canvas. To ensure a productive and respectful learning environment, we propose a few simple norms. First, please set electronic devices to silent. While device may be used for learning, we want to minimize distractions. Second, ask questions. Probably you may not be able to ask in this video presentation, but in the class, you should be able to ask more questions and feel free to engage in conversations. This course is an analytical in nature and clarification is essential. If something is unclear, others are likely wondering the same. Third, we will take a short break during a longer session to maintain focus. Fourth, we start and end on time. Respecting time is part of professional project discipline. Finally, let's have fun. Analytics may seem technical at first, but it becomes very powerful and interesting once you begin applying it to real world scenario. This course follows a blending learning structure. You will have 2 hours of online learning content each week. This introduces core theories and concepts. You will also attend 2-hour workshops where we apply these concepts using exercise, discussion, and tools. In addition, you are expected to undertake approximately 4 to 6 hours of self-study weekly. This includes reading, practice, problems, and team coordination and assessment preparation. Project analytics is not something mastered by passive listening. It requires practice. The more you engage with data sets, tools, and interpretation exercise, the stronger your competence will be. All course content and communication will be managed through Canvas. I hope you now will be able to access Canvas. Please regularly check for announcements, updates, assessment guidelines, and discussion board. Important clarification will be posted there. And as you always, you should be able to ask questions to Kerry or myself or Jin during the class hours. In professional project environment, communications platform centralized documentation and decision records. Canvas functions similar for this course. Developing the habit of checking and responding to the structured communication channel is part of your professional preparation. What is the expected learning outcome from this course? By the end of this course, you should be able to explain the purpose of measurement in different project contexts. Measurement is not universal. What we measure depends on project type, industry, and stakeholders' expectation. You will explore both the use and limitation of measurements. Not everything valuable is measured, and not everything measurable is meaningful. So you will learn a range of analytical tools and techniques. Importantly, select appropriate tools depending on context that you are in. You will apply analytics to monitoring progress, adjust baseline, and evaluate performance at a project handover. These outcomes move you beyond theory. They prepare you for data-informed project leadership in the real world. What is this slide shows? You see project analysis, project visualization, and artificial intelligence. This slide illustrates a synergistic workflow between data analysis, visualization, and artificial intelligence using the Microsoft Excel, Power BI, and ChatGPT. Here you see three interconnected sections. Project analysis, which is your MS Excel. This section shows raw data management and initial analysis. Excel acts as the foundation for data consolidation and performing standard analytical tasks such as cleaning, transformation, and mitigation of data. Project visualization, which is shown in your Power BI, this stage transforms analyzed data into interactive sales report or dashboard, where you can visualize your data into a meaningful information. Project BI is used to create visual elements like bar chart and KPIs to communicate insight effectively to decision makers. And the third part is the artificial intelligence, which we call as GPT-4. This component represents the integration of generative AI into the data process. In the image, a user asks for GPT-4 to create a visualization showing the popularity of product. The AI can provide report summaries, suggest insight, and even create specific chart code or description to enhance the reporting cycle. How is your course module looks like? The course is structured into modules that progressively build your analytical capability. Assessment or design to test both conceptual understanding and practical application. You will likely engage in team-based work reflecting how analytics is conducted in professional project settings. Pay close attention to assessment rubrics. Strong analytical work is not just about numbers, it is about interpretation, communication, and linking findings to decision making. Here's your assessment slide where your weekly participation will have 10% of your mark, which includes your attendance and reflection on the class. And you have individual assessment, group assessment, and group presentation. Each will have 20% of your marks. And finally, you have your final quiz, which is ultimately 30% of the mark. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask during the class or even through Canvas. Each and every week, we'll explain you what is required from this assessment or workshop. Now, we will form a team. So in order to get into this course, you need to have a team. Projects are rarely delivered in individuals. So analytics is practiced in collaborative, involving project manager, analyst, engineers, and stakeholders. Please form or join a team of no more than 5 students. Introduce yourself, exchange your contact details, and register your group on Canvas. Use this time not only to organize, but also to understand each other's strengths. Some may have technical backgrounds, some may have managerial or industrial experience. Diversity in team strengthens any analytical outcomes. Okay, what is analytics? Analytics is the systematic analysis of data to obtain meaningful information for better decision making. That's it. It involves combining various analytical methodologies such as your statistical tools, predictive modeling, visualization techniques to extract insight. Importantly, analytics is decision oriented. The purpose is not simply to generate report, but to improve actions and outcomes. In project context, analytics helps us answering questions such as, are we on schedule? Are we at risk of cost overruns? Which portfolio projects deliver the highest value? So something like that, you need to know what your outcomes is, what are you looking at in the report. Based on that, you need to do your analysis. So let's see the difference between analysis and analytics. Analysis focuses on examining past data to understand what has happened. It dissects information into components to interpret the current situation. Whereas analytics goes a step further. It uses result of analysis to predict future outcomes and behaviors. Put in simple words, analysis explains, analytics predicts and inform action. Both are essential part in project environments. Understanding the present and preparing for the future is ultimately the best outcomes you should be looking for. Okay, let's see what is data. Data are characteristics or information collected through observation. Whatever you see outside, it's all data. So you got to see everything you see the pen, you see the blackboard, the whiteboard, everything is a data. So they may be qualitative or quantitative. In projects, data can include cost figures, schedule duration, risk ratings, stakeholders feedback, safety incidents, and productivity metrics. However, raw data alone does not create any insight. It must be structured, cleaned, interpreted, and contextualized. Understanding what data represent and its limitation is foundational to responsible analytics. Let's see what the definition of project analytics is. Project analytics refers to the discovery, interpretation, and communication of meaningful patterns in project data and applying those patterns to improve decision making. Notice that communication is included. Insights that are not communicated clearly have limited value. Effective project analytics connects data to strategy, governance, and operational execution. Project managers use predictive information to keep projects on schedule and within budget. Analytics also use us to detect trends early, identifying risk before they can be escalated. At portfolio level, analytics supports strategic decision making about which projects to prioritize or discontinue. In increasingly complex environment, intuition alone is insufficient. Data-informed decisions improve your success rates. Analytics helps manage data overload by filtering relevant information. It supports portfolio selection and prioritization. It improves processes by identifying inefficiency. It enhances stakeholders management through transparency dashboards. It predicts schedule delays and cost overrun. In short, analytical strengthens your control, foresight, and accountability. This visual shows the journey from origin and planning to today's actual performance and it into revised future forecast. Projects rarely follow their original plan perfectly. Analytics allow us to compare plan versus actual performance and adjust forecast accordingly. This continuous feedback loop is central to effective project control. You see this visual here. It shows the journey from origin and planning to today's actual performance and into revised future forecast. Projects rarely follow the original plan. Analytical allow us to compare plan versus actual performance and forecast accordingly. This continuous feedback loop is central to effective project control. Organizations often struggle with vision, not fully understanding the potential of data. They may not know how to leverage data effectively. Data trust is another issue. Poor data quality undermines confidence. Finally, capability gaps exist, lacking skills and capacity. Recognizing these challenges is the first step towards the building analytical maturity. Let's see who's responsible for what. Responsibility for analytical spans multiple roles: analytics, data scientists, data engineers, project professionals, project controls, estimators, risk officers, and much more. Analytics is not owned by one person. It is an ecosystem capability. Organizations may adopt specialist analytical team or hybrid roles embedded within project function depending on what they wanted to see and how far they want to assess their data. In this slide, we see two models emerging. Two organizational response to integrating data analytics into PM, a specialist versus a hybrid approach. So you see the first one, the central specialist analytical team is a dedicated team or analyst works centrally alongside with existing project managers, project controls, and benefits manager. The other side is the hybrid side, which is your hybrid professional who combine project deliverable expertise with analytical capability. The hybrid model aims to transform the function and profession by embedding analytics into daily operations. So the most effective professionals often have one leg in project delivery and one leg in data analytics, supported by broad business understanding. The slides below shows outlines the concept of a multifaceted role, potentially a business analyst or similar function that bridge project delivery, and data analytics with a broad understanding of the business. Broad understanding of business. What is this? This role requires a deep engagement with business objectives and challenges. One leg in project delivery, which is the role involves managing the execution and requirements of project effectively. And the other leg is on the data analytics. It leverages data to make informed decisions and aligns project with strategic goals. The symbol, you see the symbol, the pi, the use of Greek letter pi visually represent this bridging function connecting all the three elements. Here you see a lot of rules involving in project analytics. You see the PPM, which is nothing but project portfolio management managers, project portfolio management coordinators, project officers, PMO analysts, portfolio analysts, which where portfolio analysts usually look at your strategic objectives and goals and then define projects, which project needs to come in order to attain which goals and objectives. So there are business analysts will be there in your organization, schedulers, project estimators, and risk officers, and so on and so forth. Let's see what are the skills required by a project analyst. Project analyst requires a blend of strong analytical, technical, and communication skills to monitor the performance of the project, manage data, and support decision making. Essential skills include proficiency in data analysis, especially Microsoft Project or Microsoft Excel, SQL, and project management tools like MS Project and Jira, financial tracking, and stakeholders communication. They must think critically, solve problems, and adapt to changing requirements. Here are the key skills required by a project analyst. Analytical and data skills. What are those? They need to know how to analyze data. They need to know how collecting, evaluating, interpreting project KPIs, key performance indicators, and data to identify trends and risks. Financial management, such as tracking project budgets, expenses, and forecasting financial requirements. Project analysts should also have critical thinking and problem solving, which is nothing but breaking down complex problems to offer actionable data-driven insights. They should be technically proficient, such as in software expertise, pretty much MS Office, especially MS Excel, and project management software tools like Asana, Smartsheet, MS Project, or Jira, and so on and so forth. They should also be able to report and visualize things, so creating clear reports, dashboard, and presentation to communicate findings. And they should also be familiar with the project management methodologies such as Agile, Scrum, and Waterfall. They should be very good in communication and interpersonal skills, engaging with team members, management, and clients to align their goals. And they should be very efficient with verbal and written communication. And they should also have project and time management, especially organization skills, managing project schedule, goals and documentation, and risk management, identifying and mitigating potential risks, and pretty much time management. They should also have some domain knowledge like industry expertise, a working domain knowledge of specific industry like IT, construction management, or telecommunication, and so on and so forth. So these are the major skills that are required by project analysts. So that's how we conclude today's introduction by opening the floors for questions. Over the semester, I encourage you to remain curious, ask not only how does this tool work, but also why does this insight matters. Project analytics is not just technical, as I said before, it is strategic. So if you have any questions, feel free to ask us. And thank you, and I look forward to working with you throughout this semester. Have a good day, guys.